Hey everybody, it's Line Space, and this is Note Taking. And oh god, last episode was apparently a portent of things to come. So, when we had to clip the beginning of last episode, weirdly, it. Oh no, I'm saying last episode, but it's the last one I edited when I recorded this. The episode that opened with us and Rex playing games. Nothing important had happened, but both my drive maxed out and my mic was muted. Turns out, the last episode I recorded, the last recording session, was its last hour was muted, which was the last episode. Oh boy, things happen in it. Primarily, as you can see up here, we have a benefit of Smitten because we successfully got with Nem. Hey Nem. Yay. We can do things to reduce our stress with them now every once in a while. So why am I not going to re-record that? Well, you see, the problem is I have to make it through 4 hours worth of content again to get back to the point that we were at, which is a lot, and also very likely to not end up going the same way, or I'm going to make some of the wrong decisions and things like that. The other problem is that getting Nem and Vase to break up was emotionally painful. I took a lot longer to get back to streaming after that last recording session than I honestly expected I would, and I think part of it is the fact that the game got too real and too intense for me. So, to give a recap, tensions are growing. Vase picked a fight with us out on my birthday, ended up in a big fight. Cal got hurt. Anemone is reasonably questionable about it. Anemone and Vase broke up because he was becoming more and more possessive of her and controlling, manipulative and abusive, getting mad at her when she got mad about something, trying to keep her away from other people who he saw as threats, showing his own insecurities. Lots of bad things like that. But now we're together, and the two of us got to spend a long, long glow. Glow was not a one-night attack. We were under siege for over a week. Glow was awful. And that's most of the big events. Cal has, not shockingly, they attempted to, not shockingly, recruit Cal into helping the military effort. And I think the last big thing to comment on is we did go out and glow, and we got some cards from it, but in the end, it was not time for us to be there yet. So, it is not yet the event that was foretold to us, which is interesting. Looking forward to when we get to see what that is. Because I have come to supremely enjoy this game, and I've started several characters, and sorry, I've been doing the card games for the past few days, applying all my focus to it, so talking during them is a little harder now, actually. God, this game is so good. I have so many thoughts and things to say and things I've learned by going through different paths focused on different characters. Oh, this game is so wonderful. Hey, we're actually not that far off an engineering upgrade. I'm glad I clicked on this. God, oh, I'm sorry. I know I'm a bit of a mess right now. I'm finding out I found out that recording was dead as I went live because I was trying to remind myself of what happened in the last recording session. So I'm bummed about that, and I'm trying to pull myself together. So bear with me if the beginning of this session is a little bit low-key, just because of the fact that I need to get my head back on straight. Oh, God, this game, though. This game has been so good. I did actually finish one of the files, but it was so far removed from anything we did in this one that I promise you it's not a problem. Oh, I am thinking about doing something after this series is over to talk about the mechanics, the writing, and what you learn about in different runs. And that probably won't get streamed. It might, but probably not. I'll probably just do that as a sit down and record thing. I might even do it as I record gameplay or edit together a gameplay from different episodes and then put it together with a voiceover talking about the elements I want to. That way I can sit with a bulleted list and have a little bit more focus. We'll see. I don't know what I'll end up doing as far as that goes, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. This game is so good. And I'm glad that I still get to enjoy the end of it with you. And on the one hand, I am deeply, deeply sorry that we don't get to go through the base and anemone story together. On the other hand, the amount of abuse it entails, I'm kind of glad that I'm not inflicting it on anyone else unknowingly, since it is not something I put in the content warning I provided at the beginning of the series. You're back in the Wormhole Observatory with this, just to poke around. Who knows what you might find. You bravely try all the elevators. Some are broken, one gets stuck for an hour and you think you're gonna die in there, then it chugs to life. Then you find the orrery. It's a beautiful room under one of the smaller pyramids. The light from your hollow palm glimmers off the crystals in rainbow colors, dotting the walls and ceiling in familiar constellations. There's one huge crystal plate embedded in the wall, engraved with deep glyphs, convergent domain writing, you guess, and some kind of map. In the center is clearly a representation of the wormhole. Lines extend from the wormhole to other points on the map, and many more glyphs you can't read. The crystal is cut up into shards like it could move around, but still and dark, and probably has been for thousands of years. You run your hands around the panel, looking for a way to turn it on. Your hands encounter a slot. You rummage in your bags for aha! Yes! The device you picked up in the monitoring station with this. It's a perfect match. You slot the glowing pink device into the slot. The crystal panes on the wall come to life, the glyphs on them glowing. They act like that one's special, and I've picked up so many of them at this point. How many are we carrying? I picked some up on the way here. We got 14 of these things. They start to move in a nervingly organic way, like melting into water and sliding over the surface, rearranging themselves. It's not just writing, the very surface of the panel raises and lowers like braille. The glyphs pulse and glow the same swirly purple-pink as the glowing device, which you realize must be a power source. Convergent Domain Battery. It's like an orrery for the wormhole? This must be one of the best preserved bits of convergent domain technology you've found yet. An excellent example of their writing. You're starting to piece together the glyphs of the Converger's language, and recognize the symbols for Vertumna, the wormhole, and Converger, and basic verbs like being and going, and one that seems to mean bending or twisting, that is used all over the place. It starts to get easier. You think your brief connection to the array must have left some of the Converger's language in your subconscious. Hey, how about that? With all so much to take in and it's getting late. Better bring all your recordings back and let Congruence and the rest of the archaeology team crunch away at it a bit. They'll be thrilled. That's going to be a neat thing to come back to next year. No, I want to go home. I want to go home because I want to save some of our... Hey, we got the engineering perk. I want to save some of our stress so that we can go exploring in other places some more. Run extra hard at the Star Challenge? Yes! That's a good perk. I have looked up the skills page for this game so many times playing by myself that it is now one of my recommendations whenever I open Google. Alright. Nothing to be found in there. Hunt in the swamps. Let's go protect the colony and also find things. More importantly, let's go find things. So I was going to eventually come back and do more hardcore exploration of these places, but as it turns out, most of the events are not that interesting, and now I can provide any of the context that I feel like is missing if we're in a scene. Now I know things. It's like I've lived multiple lives now. It's fun. Despite being told to watch your back, Vase has gone off ahead and probably found something to kill indiscriminately. To add insult to more insult, he's left you with his heavy pack like you're just here to carry his stuff. You huff and sling the pack on your shoulder, trying to follow Vase's tracks in the solid ground. Your hollow palm transceiver tells you can't have gone far. You're so absorbed in tracking Vase that you don't notice something tracking you. By the way, Vase is so mad at us. I'm surprised. I want there to be a chance for us to kill each other out here so badly. So speaking of the siege, this thing showed up during it and we shot it. 'Cause no. So much nope. It steps out from under the bough of a gloop willow and blocks your path. There's something deeply unsettling about it. It's some sort of chimeric beast on its bottom half, wrapped in tattered strips of flesh, though from the torso up it looks almost humanoid, complete with stars. Is it holding a weapon? Most upsetting is how its collarbone seems to unzip in a chaotic, fleshy mess of teeth, revealing a neck of glistening sinew and muscle. Its insectoid face seems to truly see you, shrewd intelligence in its milky eyes. They speak. So this is completely new, because I have not done much out here in the swamps, which is part of why we're out here. This is new for all of us. I feel like this name is familiar to me, though. I am not the lucent gardener. Their voice is rough and wheezy. Oh, I'm going to have to change that. And they struggle to form the words. The larynx was not designed for language. They take a deep, raspy breath. You are associated to the divergent process, symbiosis. You are vermin, a weed. You do not belong in the garden. Wait, they know Sim? You bravely raise your hands to their face. Cataloging the ways you see the seed of Sim's slightly inhuman features staring back at you. Their hair is a bit like Sim's as well, as if it's actually alive somehow, waving in a wind that isn't there. Whatever they are, they wait patiently for your response. The delicate petal-shaped weapon in their hands hums ominously. I'm on your side in the end. I'm trying. I don't want anything to... Okay. Vissa would like things to die, but she wouldn't like it to be the way it has been. I'm on your side. I want this to stop. I want the amount of killing to stop. I just want everyone at home to be safe. They laugh, you think. It's more like a crunching sound. It makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. They seem to have exhausted their ability to maintain small talk with you. They continue regarding you, studying you. You try to look around them for Vase, but you realize if they're anything like Sim, they've orchestrated this meeting with you alone. They point the weapon at you and say, Gun, you understand. I can kill you. You don't threaten Vissa. Don't threaten Vissa. You don't get mad at me. You're the one pointing the gun. Okay, that would be worst. I clicked the wrong one. I need to stop. Chris, stop getting so hung up on the challenges. Get them done and move on. Meh. It is a very real problem. I enjoy card games too much. You go straight for Noctilucent's weapon, which seems to surprise them. You grapple for a moment and eventually gain control of it. You fire Noctilucent. Stars! This thing is some sort of sonic weapon. You can feel it thrumming in your hands. The petals go whoosh, and Noctilucent falls over dead. You stare in awe at the brain-liquefying weapon. As you do, it disintegrates into nothing in your hand, like a time-lapse of a dying plant. Holy crap, that's okay. So, not all gardeners are friendly. If I tell, I am not telling Vase about this. Vase can eat dirt. Well, that's not just home. Oh, okay, fine. We'll just go back out. You know, after we give our girlfriend a birthday cake. Oh my god, I don't remember. Was this in an episode? Tammy has a kid now. Just to make sure that that is something that is said on stream. Tammy has a kid now. Oh wait, no, this is Paul and not... This is Paul and not Dust. I got ahead of myself. Meh. So I was enjoying playing up not liking, Rex here on stream. Rex is a fun character, and he's supremely well-meaning. He does not necessarily mesh with the character we're playing as Vissa here, but he's just a fun dude. He is very much so here for other people and to have a good time, and there's nothing wrong with that. A wide but shallow stream blocks your path here. If you get a run up, you may be able to jump over it. Or there are giant lily pads that might hold your weight. The tops are worn smooth as if animals in this area regularly use them as a bridge. Vase leaps over it. Come on, short stack, he crows. It's the height advantage though. It might not be as easy for you. We can do it. We high-fived Vase. That's something I don't like. I don't like the fact that to be able to come out to the swamp, you have to be friends with Vase. Really don't like that. Uh-oh. I'm not reading things. The worst thing about hunting a bog is, well, the bog. You're up to your knees in sticky, clean mud, sucking at your boots when you try to move. You're stuck. You poke it out with a stick, then lose the stick. How deep does this go? Wade through it. Vase is wisely taken to having you go first, so he watches from the safety of drier ground as you strike out ahead. There's the deepest point this way, you haven't found it. You submerge yourself to the waist and start to panic as the bog begins to suck you down. Uh-oh. Vase just laughs at you from the shoreline as you slip in and get sucked in up to your armpits. You panic and flail and make it worse. Finally you grab some vines and slowly drag yourself out. You're exhausted and filthy and shaking from fear. You weren't even in real danger, dummy, Vase snickers, then leaves to find a better route. Again, I don't like that I have to be his friend to come out here. You're creeping through the forest when Vase holds up his fist to signal you to stop. He points to his eyes, then through a stand of underbrush to a Balneal sitting in the middle of a shallow bog. As you're watching, the enormous semi-aquatic Xeno slowly dips its head and skims the top of the bog, filtering the murky water through its baleen before spurting the rest from its blowhole. Vase raises his rifle. This'll be an easy one. But they're peaceful, attack it outright, drive into the sticky mucksand. They're peaceful, Vase, come on, chill. You point out that that Balneal are docile, have never been known to attack surveyors or the colony, even in the swamps. They aren't even edible either. The algae they feed on is toxic to humans. Sometimes they stampede, though, Vase points out. Fewer animals, better. No. This giant docile animal is an important part of the local ecosystem. It maintains the algae levels in the water and cleans the muck. It also feeds several species of small flying creatures which live off the tiny fish that it sprays out. You tell all this to Vase, but he just rolls his eyes. You colossal tool. And that's the nice thing I can say about him. Let's make a friend. Let's make a friend. Never mind. That one I do remember doing. That is not me being careless or meaning to regret my actions. This is such a powerful card. This is a ludicrous card, and this was just us staring at the sky for a minute. Amazing what happens when you just go pretty wormhole. Pretty cosmic phenomenon that drags us to entirely different places. I want to get this to pop off. It doesn't even defend itself. Bizarre. You and Vase kill it, and it dies just like any other perfectly ordinary Unisaur. Too bad their meat is toxic to humans. And it feels like such a weird place for him to say we're being spied on, but he's not wrong either. Electrical storms can be a real danger when you're slogging through swamps, not just because of the obvious. Something in the frisson of electricity in the air draws previously unseen creatures to the surface. Their behavior is strange and unknown. Something like a giant electric eel has surfaced here and is lifting a long antenna out of the water. It looks like it's trying to attract lightning. Maybe we should give it what it wants, Vase says, pulling a pair of stun gloves and grinning sadistically. Let Vase be an idiot. The creature harmlessly absorbs the electricity from Vase's gloves. In fact, it seems to absorb it with a satisfied look on its wide, fish-like face. Then it shoots electricity back at you. Defend yourself. Wild values, by the way, are impossibly good. It is basically the entire build of the blue deck is having just an obnoxious, frankly, amount of blue cards in your deck, and then buying something that you can get once you get engineering to its second perk that makes all blue cards values wild. Which essentially means that any setup of 5 blue cards gives you 30 points to the challenge. Because you get 10 for the straight, 10 for the 5 card straight, 10 for the 5 card pair, and actually, do I get friendship with an enemy going up on the walls right now, or is it still just Dis? Okay, if it's just Dis, let's go hang with Dis. Keep some curiosity. And then you get, of course, 10 for the 5 card flush. Very, very powerful tool, and so far, anytime I've gone brainy, it was a struggle to complete things until I got that, and then everything becomes trivial. Red is definitely the easiest deck to put together, and is just consistently good, I'd say. And then the yellow deck is weird. I don't have a lot else to say about it. There are some very key cards that allow you to really reach with it, but I'd say in general the yellow deck is probably the weakest, just because it doesn't have something crazy like that item from engineering to really get you going. But on the other hand, it can have cards just as good as what you get in red, with some additional effects, so it's a mix. Xenosaur, you and Vase duck into the brush to observe it. It rubs up against a gloop willow, seemingly unaware of your presence, until it suddenly is. Its head snaps towards you, its nostrils flaring as it catches your scent. Its jaw opens wider and wider, revealing glistening, needle-thin teeth and a terrible light from deep within. It looks like it hasn't fed in some time. I just remembered. Are my video settings looking right? Okay. Good. It looks like everything... Yes, everything looks fine. I'm playing in full screen today because that's what I've been playing in and I forgot to change it. I'm a complete mess today and I apologize for that. We are going to stand our ground against this extremely angry animal. And no conservationalist can give me crap for that. It wants to kill me. It's making that abundantly clear. And like in the wild, you can still defend yourself. That's one of those really crazy things about some of the stances people take when it comes to non-violence is, if something attacks you, just don't fight back. And it's like, okay, but I die. Don't put yourself in a position where you would die if you don't fight back. But I don't always get the choice. Sorry, Cal is continuing to be frustrating as a pacifist. You and Vase explode out of the brush, matching the Unisaur's energy. It rears back and roars in surprise at your intimidation tactic, and you take a knee and fire your rifles. The drone bullets punch into the Unisaur's leathery hide and it roars again, this time in pain, and it wheels around to dash into the trees. Damn it! Almost had it. You're alive, which is a bonus. Maybe you will die from those wounds. Maybe. Man, I did one run in the swamps as a different character, and I killed like and things. You and Vase are walking down a path made by some creature, probably bush bumps. They like to make paths. What you find, though, isn't a bush bump. It's a snap bladder, a much more aggressive foe. You've seen nests of the things, squirming around and crying out, trying to lure people into their hungry mouths. But this one is on the move. It's crawling across the path. Slowly. From its round, lumpy form, you wonder if it's pregnant. These things are a danger to spheres, and could potentially kill someone who fell into a brooding nest. They swell up so huge they can't move anymore, and instead half bury themselves and lie in wait for prey to come too close. Ugh, you take this one, Vase says, gesturing the lumbering beast. It looks your speed. Let's just put it down. Efficient but boring. Try being more creative next time. We're killing things. Fight me. The swamp has flooded here, and water has risen to almost completely cover the trees. The islands you make your way across are actually the tops of giant mushroom-topped trees, barely rising out of the marsh. Oh my god, if you fell in, you would never come back. The water is clearer than usual, so you can see down through the underwater canopy to the jungle beneath the surface. Okay, I was thinking we were still in bog. That's less dangerous, but still not okay. You think it's just marvelous to peer down at the underwater forest, but Vase is antsy and looking for something to fight. He scans on ahead. You're hurrying to catch up when several muckwalkers come flopping out of it in front of you. They're twice as long as you are tall, smacking and slithering in your direction, with hundreds of little fins. Creatures are slow and clumsy out of the water, but it doesn't really matter when you're that big. Big thing go dead. I sure won't do that. You know, I've heard more than once the joke of streamers singing is a sign that they don't know what to say, and it always bothers me because I do sometimes just default to doing something like that da-da-da that right there, and then my brain always goes, oh god damn it. You and Vase have been tracking a Unisaur, a young one, still not yet adept at hiding its tracks. When you corner, it seems confused. It blinks at you curiously. When Vase moves his hand to his gun, it opens its horrible maw and roars at you, the horrible furnace of its empty belly visible as his face peels back. God, these things are horrific. Suddenly Dis is there between you and the Unisaur. Not this one, he says. Get out of my way, Vase growls, or things are gonna get ugly. I'd like to see you try, you dick-brained posable action figure, Dis retorts, raising his fist like he's ready to fight Vase, drone rifle and all. Since we got our buddy here for a second... Yeah, our buddy. Such an idiot. Anyways. Since we got Dis here for a second, if you go into the talent show, Dis actually competes as well and does a bunch of comedy type stuff, which is so precious. But then, because he shows up Mars one year, she then comes back and roasts him like an asshole. He just doesn't come back after that, which is not surprising. What are you doing? Vase exclaims. You're supposed to be my partner. Why are you protecting this stupid animal? It's not stupid, Dis reports. It's supposed to live here, not us. Can't just kill it for doing what it's supposed to do. By the way, Dis's entire mentality? Let's just say that Dis and Tangent did not have a good childhood. For anyone who wants to look into that, spoiler warning for suicide and neglect. So yeah, it's a hell of a time. And you learn about it through Tangent's side of things. He shoots the Unisaur back into the forest, then runs off himself in a different direction. Vase tracks Dis with his rifle, but you grab his arm to stop him from doing something very stupid. Again, I'm not allowed to shoot this guy. Why? Why am I not allowed to shoot this guy? There's a different variety of bush... Oh, yeah, this is one we've seen before. It's the two weirdo bush bumps. And then they both die. No, sorry, one of them dies. The other one gets away. The final level biology perk, by the way, is ludicrous. You get one of the other starting augments, one of the gene-based augments. Huh, I don't think we helped colony defense at all this time. That's weird. Go home. So, before stream, I did make sure to double-check that I hadn't done anything in any of the places to explore. So, there should have been something, theoretically. Are there more events in there that I missed? One event remaining, so no, nothing worth going back for. Well, that's weird. Ridgeweed didn't do a whole lot in, and these three just don't have a lot of interesting at this point. So we're gonna leave that for the time being. Although that raised the question of what do now. There's a part of me that wants to go for organizing or creativity because I can justify both of them. But nah, let's just... Well, actually, I guess we're going to go for organizing because let's do more xenobotany. Oh, wait, I just remembered something. We'll get to that shortly. You've been having one of your dreams ever since you first touched your dad's workbench. Spiraling threads of DNA, Vertumnan and Earth flora entwined, their chloroplasts dancing together, purple and green, purple and green. With this colorful dream has come knowledge, and a strong urge to see if it is true. In Vertumnan, Earth plants be combined via gene tech. You select hardy native species and fruitful plants humans have cultivated for millennia. You remember which ones and which genomes to use because you've done this before in another life. Yeah! The card you get from this is insane. Card correctly. Native Hybrid, a 6 in blue that draws 2 extra cards when drawn. It's so good. You double check congruences simulations 100 times and the results are always the same. A truly viable genome composed of genes from both Earth and Vertumna, and in every chemical simulation congruence can run, it successfully takes root and flourishes. You look at the tiny, barely sprouted plants. This could be the beginning of a new era of agriculture on this planet. Too bad you didn't have this years ago, when you really needed it, but better late than never. May no future generations ever have to suffer like you did. Can't wait to take this knowledge and use it on other Earth plants. Strawberries, bananas, kiwis, all the delicate plants that need such careful tending in hydroponics, growing strong in Vertumnan soil, feeding the colony for generations to come. You wish your parents were here to see this. Congruence is proud of you, but it's not quite the same. You'll earn twice the kudos working in the lab from now on, in recognition of your contribution to the colony's continued survival. Increased rewards for xenobotany. This year, Governor... Oh, right, this is the first year without any events. This year, Governor Lum's ascension to the Vertumnalia stage is heralded by an entire military band, their instruments shiny and nano-printed new. They march out of command formation, splitting and forming a phalanx at the foot of the stage as Lum takes his place before you. I'm not going to talk that much about Lum right now. I know a lot more about who he is and what's going on with him. But I'm not going to get into that because I want to let a lot of this come from just the perspective of this run still. Spotlights turn on with heavy ka-chunk noises, illuminating Lum in a halo of floating dust particles. He spreads his arms wide. Hello, Vertumna! His voice booms over the speakers. Are we winning or what? Your reaction is mixed. You look around. It's easy to see the ones cheering the loudest are Helios and people who have fully adopted their mentality, like Nem. The Stratos are more reserved, some even silent. Security Chief Red is one of them, his usual stony expression hiding his true feelings. Regardless, there's enough cheering that Lum has to wait for it to die down before he continues. We're killing it out there, people! He exclaims. Every day we claw a little more territory from the savage aliens on this planet. A potato pod arcs through the air and lands with a broken splort at Lum's feet, splattering him with juice. You don't see who threw it, but the faction from Geoponics is looking restless. They begin to jeer and stomp their feet. Lum continues on, raising his fists. Those Xenos attacked us first! And now they're learning, don't mess with humankind! The crowd is now evenly split between cheering and booing. The Stratos are agitated, and you hear calls for things to return to how they were, and how Lum and his soldiers are killing the planet. Even the council, lined up before the stage, are facing the crowd, looks conflicted. That ain't how it is! Utopia turns and hollers up at Lum. You don't even know what it's like out there! You just send folks out to die for your stupid war! Utopia hops on and continues to do the thing. For Utopia yo-yos between me trying to be south and me trying to be Irish. Somewhere in the northern Europe accent. Is it Irish? I don't know. I'm bad at accents. We've learned this. Utopia hops on the stage and routes her own speak through the speakers. He's lying! She yells bitterly. This year we lost 2 surveyors in the swamps, Sorrel and Quinny. They'd be alive today if Lumhan sent them out to clear on a manticore den for no good reason. She jams her finger against the governor's chest. The only threat to our colony here is you! Lum's smile doesn't change, but his eyes go cold. He snatches Utopia's hand and calmly, slowly, brushes her hollow palm crystal with his thumb. You can hear the crunch of bones of her hand before her feed cuts out. Utopia yelps as her knees buckle with the pain, her bravado gone. She holds her broken hand to her chest and is too shocked to resist when Lum shoves her off stage. The crowd is stunned into silence as well. Lum clears his throat and approaches the end of the stage, looming tall over the council. Thank you for your input, he says icily. Your concerns have been noted. This isn't the buffoon Lum presents on his daily holovlogs, or the nuisance he is when he visits a worksite. You see something in his eyes you've only caught glimmers of before. Hatred. You Stratos are lucky we didn't crush you under our boots and take your colony by force, he sneers. Before we got here, this colony was doomed. We're only alive because I was merciful. Just a bunch of burned out hippie fugitives. What's your plan for surviving out here? Wishful thinking? Singing songs and talking to animals? Laughter ripples through the Helios. You, he gestures the council, then jerks his thumb at his chest, need us, not the other way around. I'm done pretending I need to listen to your opinions. You want to live? I'll do what I say. He stares at Dr. Instance, who glares up at him with hate in her eyes as she tends to Utopia's hand. Maybe it's time to clean house, he threatens. We need team players here, ones who share one vision for the future of Vertumna. After a few tense moments, he clears her throat. Sir, shall I continue with the traditional formalities now? Lum scowls down at Seek and throws his hands in the air. Whatever. Do it, if it makes you feel better. Oh, cowards. He turns and... Lum's voice is too close to my own. I enjoy adopting a villain's cadence with my voice sometimes, and I'm trying to go showy with him, but it's hard to get that away from my own voice, since it's a voice it's a kind of inflection I've done with my own voice a whole bunch, so it's hard not to default back into it. He turns and stalks off the stage, his marching band scrambling to follow him with his exit song. As promised, there are no contests this year, but there's plenty of food and alcohol. As the suns begin to set, the Helios, including Vase and Nem, head straight for it and look ready to party into the night. The other teens seem a little less at ease. Dis, quite predictably, has already left. Well, if Nem's still gonna go with Vase, I'm gonna go find Dis. I can't do that. Not after what I just saw. Not after spending time with his face just sucks too much. Can't find... Oh, and in case you're curious, Nomi and Rex go and hang out with the Helios crew. They don't go with the... with the Strato crew. They don't go with the Helio crew. You don't find Dis on the walls, or in the robotics lab, or in any of his usual hiding places. Not even Congruence can get a read on his location. You might have an idea where he could be, though. Creep up on Sim and Dis, meeting in secret outside the colony walls. Trust me, Dis. I'm not concerned, Sim says, his hand resting on Dis' shoulder entreatingly. The planet is in no danger of being subjugated by humans. You don't get it, Dis exclaims. They're really serious. They're going to use bombs. You've seen bombs, right? Explosions? What if they cut down every tree or poison the rivers or... Sim smiles patronizingly. I forget sometimes that you're so human. he says, and Dis scowls. For a second time, unable to see beyond the next 100 years. Even if your species manages to wipe all life from this continent, we will simply bring it back again. Take 20,000 years, but this planet will outlive you. Dis knocks his hands away and wipes his eyes. Why are you always so calm? He spits out. Other gardeners aren't like this. Other gardeners know that humans are dangerous. Yes, Sim sighs, closing the distance between them and folding Dis into a gentle hug, like one would approach a biting animal. I'm not like other gardeners. Not anymore. Just like you're not like your humans. Dis sniffs and sniffles and buries his head in Sim's tattered clothing. She'd let me help, he murmurs, almost too quiet for you to hear. Make some noise. You let yourself snap a branch as you move through the dry underbrush, and Dis leaps away from Sim with a guilty expression. They both relax when they see it's you. Dis scrubs his red face. Hey, Vissa, he stammers. I guess I should go back now. Well, what's interesting here is... So, I did a playthrough that was all about politics and science and things like that. And there's things going on in the colony. I'm not trying to downplay that, but so many scenes, once you reach this portion, come down to just the Helio are militaristic assholes and the Strato are not happy in this situation. One of the problems I have with this game, and this is a critic problem, this is not an actual problem. I love this game, I love this element of the game, but I think that it's a bit of a weakness. This is the kind of thing where a critic is talking about what keeps a game from being perfect, and that could be worked on in other games to try and do something different. I want to make that clear before I continue this. So one of my problems with this game is the fact that if you stay inside the colony, the game is not only short, it's boring. Because so little happens. It's not that things can't happen, it's that so little happens and you have so little control over it. And then once you do have control, the decisions you make are very short and linear. Whereas with situations like this, Sim only showed up when we were like 16 years old, and in 2 years already, there's been so much story with him. With Dis, there's been so many different scenes throughout the different biomes. You get so much more leaving the colony than you do staying inside, which is fitting from a thematic element, but means that if you don't invest in toughness or bravery, especially invest in them early on so that you can get outside the colony, if the game feels so much smaller. I imagine somebody coming into this and not wanting to explore, wanting, like, role-playing like I did, but role-playing someone who's scared like Tammy, and I don't know if you'd enjoy this game. I'm not sure. It's a hard perspective to see things from because you're just missing so much of what's happening outside. Every single glow is basically just you sit around and be miserable. You and Dis sneak back into the colony as the sun sets, dodging Vase and his reveling friends. They've somehow wrangled themselves a live tripit and are in the process of skewering it to roast over a big bonfire. You can hear its dying squeals from here, and shortly after that, smell the sweet charred scent of it roasting over the flame. Dis curls his lip. I hate this place. Yeah, that's pretty awful, he mutters. Sometimes I wish everyone would just hurry up and die. Oh, this. The week after Vertumnalia is one of the hottest since you landed. You're supposed to take some time off for a much-needed break, but it's just so humid and awful, and temperatures are short. Shortly after the festival, you start seeing graffiti cropping up everywhere. It seems like lively, if not particularly civil, conversation between the two factions is being held on the flat surfaces of the colony. Lum announces a zero-tolerance policy for political graffiti, but you notice that not every tag is being removed, just the ones against the war, of course. This is like when people are like, why does everything have to be political? And then it's like, yeah, but you don't complain when it's the politics you support. The atmosphere of the colony is oppressive, as thick as the choking dust heat itself. Everywhere you try to relax, people just want to talk about the war. To make matters worse, the sweltering nights are making your nightmares intense again. You return to work feeling more stressed than before. So there's something I forgot about. Something we can do. Oh, I made such a big deal about making sure to get an enemy's birthday and then I forgot it. I'm terrible. Tend the animals, because we caught this! I think we actually caught this not in the episode we missed. You should probably do something about the Unisaur you captured. See, it's eating its way through everything. It doesn't actually produce any food, and the other ranchers are starting to get annoyed by its attitude. Like it knows something they don't. It's creepy. You figure you may as well try to get around it. You get it used to taking a rider. If people could ride Unisaurs around, that would be pretty useful, especially when the robots and vehicles start breaking down. Bring it outside. It stares at you with its eerily intelligent eyes. You approach with the saddle and only shimmies a little as you strap it to its back. You brace yourself and hop on. 60 animals check. What happens if you can't meet that? There wasn't another option. The Unisaur takes off at a run, ducking and weaving as it tries to throw you off. You get down low in the saddle and wrap your arms around its neck. The Unisaur is an unusually intelligent animal, and sense it trying to figure out how to throw you or just make it too uncomfortable for you to hang out on. It slams its body against the walls of the pen, trying to snap your legs. When that doesn't work, it tries rearing up on its hind legs, or reaching back to scratch you with its hand-like paws. It tosses its head to try to gouge you with its horn. It's uncomfortable, but you're no stranger to discomfort, and you're not going to let this Unisaur dominate you. You hang on until Unisaur stops fighting, its great sides heaving under your legs. You pat its scaly neck, and it tosses its head like it's sighing. You get the sense that you haven't really broken it. More than you've just convinced it that you'll be less of a hassle if it just plays along. Hey, we have our pet. Success! You can convince her to let you ride her now. Oh yeah, now that you can get her to stand still long enough to check, you determine this Unisaur is female. What do you name your magnificent beast? Clever Girl, Twilight Sparkle, Face Ripper? Don't think much about the name we picked. She feels like more of a rarity. Okay. But you go with Twilight Sparkle. That's... Okay, game. Okay. Now you listen here. Oh, that's good. That's very, very cute. Excuse me. Get us that empathy, which I don't know if we could try to max out empathy by the end, and maxing out empathy does come with a pretty decent reward, but... Oh, Mars, what you up to? You're hanging out with Mars when you hear shouting. Governor Lum comes storming out of command and stalks towards the garrison. Administrator Seek is hot on his heels trying to get a word in. Can't hear what they're saying, but Lum looks like ready to take it out on someone. Mars pulls you aside. Look, he's going off again, she says, rolling her eyes. I can't believe he actually makes me miss Governor Udicott. He's like this all the time, she continues. It's like he's never actually been in command before. He has charisma, but the moment something goes wrong... Gestures to where Lum and Rhett are having a heated conversation outside the garrison. When he's defensive, he gets offensive, literally. Yeah, that should not surprise you that that's how the social playthrough ended. I want to know what she says without me commenting that. Mars sighs, nothing yet. But one day, people are going to realize that there are better options, like one of us. Okay. But no, Chris. No saves coming. Bad Chris. I don't want to play like the other, I want to let this run its course. Spot Rex carrying supplies and a big piece of wood into a huge tarped up section at the end of the lounge. He waves at you, well, as much as a wave as he can do with his arms full of mushwood. Hey, Avissa, he calls out to you. Have you come to see the bar? Give him a questioning look. The bar? You don't know Rex super well. You haven't heard of anything about a bar. He gestures the tarps. My bar, he says. I've been working on a special project ever since I joined the construction crew. The colony needed a place to cut loose, you dig? He looks up at it, beaming with pride. I think it's about halfway done. You take a look at what you can see. Rex has kept it all pretty well tarped up and hates letting people inside to peek. But you can tell it's big. Perhaps a little too big. Ambitious, maybe, for a first solo construction project. Rex has had a lot of help from his crew and from the colony. He'd have to be able to find enough wood. Ready to be finished now! You've seen this bar in your dreams. Rex was so proud of it, and it was perfect and huge. It didn't have to be. The joy people had from going there wasn't from how opulent it was. It was from being able to relax with their friends. I remember joking with Rex about how people would have loved it, even if it was just a few planks and a keg of beer. The thing is, you remember other things too. It hurts when you try to remember specifics from your dream, but you just have a feeling that maybe Rex doesn't have enough time to finish the darn thing. It feels like something bad's going to happen, and we have to live life now while the living is good. Okay, I don't know what they mean by that. That's actually kind of terrifying, because I don't know what they mean by something bad's going to happen. You tell Rex as much, and the look of relief on his face tells you that he'd been thinking the same thing. "You're right, Vissa," he says, scratching his ear. "I should stop trying to make it so perfect, because it'll never get done." He smiles. "How about we open it next week?" About a week later, Rex stands before... So I actually picked this option because I figured the bar wasn't going to get done otherwise, and I think it's fun to share. About a week later, Rex stands before you and a few interested members of the construction crew, as well as a very excited-looking Nomi. I think it's time to open the bar," Rex says, uncharacteristically stuttering over his words. "Thanks, Vissa, for reminding me what's really important, that we have a place to party!" With that, Rex slips on the house lights. The crowd gasps and blinks around in awe. There's so much to see. Maybe it's not as spectacular as it could have been if you let Rex bang away at it forever, but it's good enough. There's a stage and a dance floor and a few places for people to lounge around on pillows, and, of course, there's a bar. It's a little lightly stocked for now, but you're sure Rex's next job will be to cajole some liquor out of the stores. You're happy you convinced Rex to unveil it now. He's obviously a bit nervous, that's not all quite right, but people love it anyways. I love that you can still get this to happen, but that's nowhere near as nice if you didn't go through the steps for it, which is essentially just dropping a pile of lumber on Rex every chance you get. Quietly admire. During the day, this place will be, because, this is still socially awkward to this day. This place will be a quiet cafe where people can gather with friends or sit and study. At night, Mars is going to lead karaoke nights, and Nomi will make sure the dance floor is always jumping. By the way, I do want to comment, I do recognize the hypocrisy of me saying I want to treat this like it's just its own playthrough, while also having used just a small recording, so that I could save Tammy. I didn't mean to. Did not mean to. That botched recording, though, gave it to us, and I said fine. Because I hadn't started this stream file when that happened. That was the excuse. And I'll just be happy that everyone else has a good time here, Rex tells you. Great to finally have a place purpose-built for having fun. Thank you, Vissa, for all your help. My vocal range feels like it's not very good today. I forgot Nomi's birthday. Oh my god. This is what I get for taking a break from streaming. I'd waited to play this game on my own time because I was afraid of things like this happening. Where I would just be unable to remember what I was doing, why I was doing it, and other things like that. I feel bad, and I'm sorry for anyone who finds that frustrating. I want to give you medicinal roots. I want to max our friendship. Let's go work some more xenobotany. If we can't get biology or organizing up. Research xenobotany! Nothing special. I don't really have a problem when it comes to doing the card games and having not particularly special elements show up. It helps that that feels like a break to help move things along with this run, whereas, again, in the social run, it's all you're doing. So it kind of gets very monotonous when you're just trying to level your stats, really. This evening, when Dis isn't in his quarters or his usual spot near the expedition vehicles, you have a sixth sense of where to find him. His old secret hideout in the big drainage pipe under the wall, where he still goes sometimes when he needs to escape and be alone. Sure enough, there he is at the entrance to the pipe, but something's wrong. He's fiddling with a package furtively. His head jerks up as you approach, and he clutches it to his chest. You can barely believe your eyes, but you know a bomb when you see one. What are you doing? Dis stares at you for a few moments, weighing the truth. I'm leaving, he says eventually. Noctilucent made me a deal. Sabotage the colony during the next attack, and they'll let me become a gardener. Don't get in my way, Vissa, Dis says. I don't want to have to hurt you. But that's why. Please don't do this. This looks stunned, but shakes his head. It's not about you, Vissa, he says. I'm going to do this. Except for you, there's nothing for me here. No, the only thing that makes me feel... He looks down at the package in his hands and sighs. Human. No one has to know, just give me the bomb. Oh my god, I'm getting Heather's flashbacks. That's a weird place for my brain to go. Okay. Disc clutches the explosives to his chest tightly and lets out one shuddering sigh. Okay, he says finally. Okay, I just... He shakes his head and hands it over to you. Take it, he says, before I change my mind. You dispose the deadly package and thank all the gods from all the religions you can name that you are here tonight to stop this. And now, the only thing that could have been similar from the ending of the last game, of the other game I played, is gone. That was the only thing I knew was going to happen, and it's gone now. So, okay, I am now back in completely blind like I was for all the other recordings. Let's go. Okay, not completely blind. We went over that before, but blind enough. Give me a break. This game is too good. I knew I was going to take a few days off, and I didn't want to just completely stop playing. It's the only thing I wanted to do. I blame the game for being too good. That's the only defense I have. Let's relax in the park. Your Unisaur is getting used to accepting you as, well, not as its owner really, but maybe as something like a small, fragile, slow friend. Meat is becoming a little more common in the colony than it used to be, thanks to the hunters from the Heliosphere. They really like to eat meat. Luckily, that means it's easier for you to feed your Unisaur what she really likes. You play with Twilight Sparkle for a few hours, letting her run around and stretch her legs. They knew what they did with this color scheme. When she gets hungry, you throw chunks of meat and let her snap them out of the air. People have pushed back against the idea of wasting meat on feeding an animal, but you don't know what else you can do. If you don't feed her, she'll be a real menace. Ooh. I know what that looks like now, because we've dealt with it a number of times. Not good. It's a bad time. Hey Cal, curiosity. Hey, we can do this. Okay, but... Oh! Okay, I left. I have not talked to you much. I'm sorry I skipped that. It's kind of a stupid juvenile story anyways. I don't like that event, so I'm okay with that. What you working on? Cal's looking a little sickly. Well, I found this really pretty flower growing in the garden. I've never seen it before. Take a look at it, and soon begin to feel sick yourself. Wait, is this plant radioactive? This is such a stupidly powerful card. What? It's radioactive? Cal says, backing up quickly. Good thing you knew that. What do we do? You're not sure if you study it in geoponics lab. You're not sure, but if you study it in the geoponics lab, you might be able to figure out how to neutralize the radiation. There's at least one event where that's useful. And I'm certainly inclined to go ahead and do that right. I want it to be at no stress going into... We got a whole nother year. We can research it then. So let's go ahead and actually just chill us. Well, actually, we can get the biology perk before glow. No. Relax in the park. Let's just get the Unisaur to like us. Your mother's white Astrantia flowers are flourishing in the garden. By the way, we're not using it because the ability is actually really terrible with us because we're 99% red. And the ability it has is +3 for rainbow flushes, which means 1 social, 1 mental, and 1 physical. Does not count wild cards. Your mother's white Astrantia flowers are flourishing in the garden. Everywhere else, too. They've really taken to something in the soil here. You even see them outside the walls. Something must be carrying their seeds out towards the wilderness. Twilight Sparkle still doesn't appreciate you riding on her back, but you've reached tenuous peace with her. You don't make her go anywhere she doesn't want to go, and she doesn't try to throw you so hard your bones time travel into next week. You'd still like her to be a little more adventurous with you at the reins, though. There's a couple mushwood logs lying around outside the colony, and you're pretty sure you can convince her to jump them. Yeah, do it. I want to know what that ability upgrades into, and whether or not it is just strictly, hey, this is how you have a decent, this is how you have a decent multicolor deck. The social playthrough, I managed to clear every single red card from my deck. And it's just so much easier when you don't leave the colony. Actually, if we put Nomi here, and then, yeah. +4 for rainbow flushes of 3. Oh, okay. Success! You direct Twilight Sparkle towards the mushwood and set off at a fast pace. She balks at first, but after a split second where you're sure you're going to eat dirt, she bunches up her hindquarters and sails over the obstacle. Your whole skeleton judders when you're both at the ground on the other side, but you're still in the saddle. She turns her head to look at you, like, are you kidding me? Twilight Sparkle is in the stable when you go to take her on her daily ride. Then you hear a scream from the gardens. You run towards the screaming and find that Twilight Sparkle has cornered Nougat in the gardens and is growling menacingly. Nougat is cowering under a park bench and begs for you to save her. Oh no, Twilight Sparkle must be hungry. God, stupid. I should have picked something else. You don't want to see her when she's hungry. You don't bring any meat to calm her down. You're going to have to rely on your empathetic bond to calm Twilight Sparkle down. One of the first things we learned about Unisaurs is that when they're hungry, they become hyper aggressive and it's hard to contain them, basically. So I love this sense of I love that the finale to this particular event series is just you now have to rely on that bond and nothing else. It's either good enough or it's not. That's actually a great way to end the bonding with the Unisaur. Yeah, okay, so it just helps with rainbow flushes. That's underwhelming. What is our gear like? Huh. Anyways, you cautiously approach Twilight. I'm resisting saying that our gear seems very weak. You cautiously approach Twilight Sparkle, hands outstretched. Tosses her head and snorts, but amazingly, she stays still until you're able to get your hands on her head and force her to look into your eyes. It's a battle of wills. You can sense her wanting to break away, but after a few tense moments, she seems to relax, accepting your show of dominance. He allows you to lead her back to the barn, where you're able to calm her down for the rest of the way with a meal. Great work. Gotta get rid of that. Okay. So, we have once again reached Glow. And we're going to go out into Glow. There's a world out there to explore, and we're allowed to now. I'm so happy about that. So excited. It's a fun fact. I actually had reached a different ending, but it wasn't a game that actually reached the end. And I'm curious if we're going to get to see what happened as far as that goes. It's a hell of a thing. I meant to do this to you at the end of last month, but I am very much so focused on not the friendship building thing. I'm not gonna lie. With this episode wrapping up, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm hoping to wrap this up with this recording session. Mostly because I really, really want to get to the end of this game. I love this game so much. I want to see how this run of it is going to end. And then I want to be able to play all the other directions. This is genuinely a situation where I'm just like, I need this run to end so that I can go do other things in this game. Not other games, but in this game. And I don't plan to stream them because it would be skipping a lot of conversations. That doesn't mean I won't ever talk about them. Or that I might not do one-off streams of this game in the past. We'll see. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have the best day you possibly can. And take care, everybody.